So there is a very interesting quote in the novel, God is power. So let us try to see this, that what is this and what is the meaning of this in 1984. How do we read this quote, God is a power, with reference to George Orwell's 1984. Uh, uh, One very deliberate question that might come to us, and the next question also that we want to discuss is about a critique of religion. George Orwell, 1984, Animal Farm, and several other essays also. And those who have read all those things, they are very well aware that George Orwell is quite a bitter critic of Catholic religion. Those who have read George Orwell, they are very much aware. So this idea, God is power, or God, when we see that what is this doing in this atheistic, dystopic society of Oceania? What is God doing here? Why this reference of God? There, we have seen yesterday that there is one character who is working as a poet into those machines where verses are manufactured, poetries are manufactured there, and he just used a rhyming line for rod, R-O-D, rod, as God, because he was not able to find any other word to have a rhyming. He was rewriting Kipling's poem. And even for that, he is sent to room 101. The punishment is given there. So that is how this society is there, and there is no space for God in this world. Then this. So we find in the novel that God is somehow referred 8 times in this novel, and let us try to see where and how many times this is referred, if we see original text and try to read in that. Uh, to get this control, this page number we'll see, but if we can get okay, so we find here that it is referred around uh, 8 times. The word God is coming in this. Uh, so this is that reference, the very first reference. Obviously, this reference is coming much at the end of the novel. So it is in the part 3 of the novel. In the third part, we find this reference. Up till then, there is no reference of God, but later on, in the final part, there. And here we find ample forth is also waiting for the punishment along with Winston Smith. And then there are these questions. You too, or Smith, you too, he says, what are you in for? To tell you the truth, he says, there is only one offense that is done, and that is that only one offense, that is remembering God. That is what he says. That is it. And he says that, well, because I was just reproducing this poem, and there is no other word which was having this rhyming line with rod. And so he says, I use God. And you are now waiting for the kind of a punishment there. So that is the reference. And then this is a very important quote, which we will discuss in detail also. Wherein this comes, God is power. And it is spoken by O'Brien, this, that how it comes here. Then the third reference also is this direct question being asked. A direct question: do you believe in God, Winston? This is the direct. But Winston is also not a believer. He says no. Then what is it? This principle that will defeat us. Why do you still have a hope that something will defeat the party? That is what O'Brien asked. Why do you have that hope that something will defeat? Well, he says, I don't know. I don't believe that God or the second coming or some avatar or something will come when the time is terrible and the humanity will be saved. Winston is not believing in those theological ideas. But he has a belief in something else here, and that is the spirit of man. Says the human spirit, indomitable spirit of human being, that can never be conquered and crushed the way you want to do it. That will someday rise again. The spirit of the rebellious spirit of man, the revolutionary nature of human being, which down the centuries have always overturned these kinds of despotic rulers. Humanity, human being totally do not keep on suffering such people for a longer period of time. That spirit of man, I say, is that I have a hope in. And do you consider yourself a man? He says. Still, you consider that you are still a man, like as we know that the very system of the party in those days, this imaginary dystopic world of George Orwell was to diminish human being, the very quality, and you become a mere mechanical puppet or a robot who will just keep on doing, thinking, talking, memorizing, forgetting as the party wanted it to be done. As the party wanted. So it says, remember this, you will remember that. Forget it, you will forget it. So that way you become a kind of a robot where even your mind, your emotions, your feelings, everything is controlled by the party. Party says love, you love. Party says hate, you hate. So that way they start controlling the things. And we have seen that this do happen several times in our societies also. And we know that, well, people are told that, well, you have to hate so and everybody starts hating. And suddenly there are signals that no more hate. And then people would perhaps not hate that person or say that work of art or that film, and everybody will start watching the film. A very interesting episode that is going on right now is about the success of film Pathan. That also says that, well, how people are told that you are not supposed to object to a film, and that film is making a history in the earnings. It is making a history. So, and then someday, if it is told that, well, you have to hate this filmmaker, you have to hate, then everybody starts hating also. Well, that is how the party wants people to behave. This. So, if you are a man, you are the last man. The original title, which George Orwell thought for this novel, was also this: "The Last Man in the Europe." The Last Man. That was his original title also. But then somehow publishers and they settled down to 1984. That was the time, and there was only Last Man. That was how it was known as. Your kinds is extinct, and that it says this. Okay, so that is this reference, and then later on when uh, Winston has become a good human being, according to the party, when he has become a good human being, he recalls this, and he is writing this. He is writing 2 plus 2 is equal to 5 also on the table in a small bar restaurant kind of a thing with a finger there, and then he has this thing where he also writes God is power. He accepted everything. He accepted everything that the party wanted him to accept. The past was alterable. The past never had been altered. Oceania was at war with Eastasia. Everything. He says Jones, Aronson, Rutherford were guilty of the crimes they have charged. They never existed. Everything he said, which was there, he accepted with the truth of the party there. And then we have this series of reference to this in the last part. In a few lines where this reference of God comes here. Worship of false gods, worshipping of false gods. He need not know that these gods were called Baal, Orisis, Moloch, Astaroth, and the like. All different names that people have given to gods and goddesses in different parts of the world. Some he knew Jehovah and the commandment of Jehovah. He knew therefore that all gods with other names of other attributes were false gods. So that is that reference that this all gods which people have in their religion, they all are also false gods. That is the reference of this in this novel. So this is how we see that uh, some 8 times the word God is referred here in this what we call it as aesthetic dystopic society of Oceania. Uh, but this sentence, our quote, which we are trying to see, God is power. What does it mean? God is power. That is our quest. We want to see this. That sentence appears twice. Once when O'Brien is telling that to Winston, and second time when Winston is convinced that yes, what O'Brien says is perfectly right. That is the only truth, and one is supposed to believe in the truth of the party. There is no other truth or any other thing outside what O'Brien has told him. So, part 3, chapter 3, and in chapter 4, this reference comes. O'Brien says, we are the priests of power. So, God is something which is a very powerful thing in the world of theology. In the world of theology. But this is the world of a political power where they have replaced God with power. So, and we are the priests of power. Uh, God is power, or power is God, you can say. So, having power itself is having God. And then you can allow people to bow down to that power the way for centuries religions has allowed people to bow down to their gods. And how beautifully it is done. So when we question that, can it ever happen that anybody force anybody to love Big Brother? If I don't love, I don't love. How can anybody force me? But well, it happens in such a beautiful manner that one never even questions that why should I not love Big Brother? If we just replace Big Brother with any of the gods or goddesses that we believe in, then we will realize that well, I love my God. I love my goddesses. And nobody is forcing me to do, and yet I am doing it. And I may be ready to hate somebody who do not love my God. So it is not only necessary to obey my God, it's not only necessary to be obedient to God, but it is also necessary to love the God. And I have to tell that no, I am not afraid of my God. I love my God, and my God loves me. So we tell that without any kind of a force from anybody. That's wonderful conditioning of the minds of billions of people that the religions has already done. And now nobody has to work on that. It has worked in such a way for one generation they have to work. So this party is still growing, and so they have to work on that to convince people there are resistance. You work on all those people who rebel and resist, and then it so happens because there are those kids who are growing, and all those kids when they will grow, they will never even question that why should I hate Big Brother? There is no point of hating. I love only, and I obey Big Brother, and I love that. That is how the world turns into. So, but as present, power is only a word so far as you are concerned. It is time for you to gather some idea of what power means. He explains what power means. The first thing you must realize is that power is collective. We were seeing the other day also. You can slightly change this, slightly only this handle only. This so the focus. So we were seeing this also the other day that Big Brother is an idea. It is not an individual that works, but it is a collective force that works. That is what it turns into the idea also. So, yes, you can. The individual only has power insofar as he ceases to be an individual. You know the party slogan. Party slogan: freedom is slavery. Has it ever occurred to you that it is reversible? Slavery is freedom. But you can do that. So people who are slave, they will start believing that being slave, it itself is to be free. Being in a pincher itself is to be free. So that is what you have to just do that. Slavery is freedom alone, free. The human being is always defeated. It must be so because every human being is doomed to die, which is the greatest of all failures. But if he can make complete, utter submission, if he can escape from his identity, if he can merge himself in the party, so that he is the party, then he is all powerful and immortal. So you have to just diminish yourself, be one with party, and then you will become immortal because party will live. Human beings will not learn. That power will lie with the party. The second thing for you to realize is that power is power over human beings. Power is power over human beings, over the body, but above all, over the mind also. Power over matter, external reality, as you would call it, is not important. Already our control over matter is absolute. So we want to have control over mind also. So we'll give a kind of a freedom to the people to do what they want to do, but they should not even think of doing something against the party. All freedom will be given. So we can tell that, well, there is freedom of speech. There is freedom of expression. You are free to be and do whatever you want to do. But you should never think of doing that. Otherwise, it will be a thought crime. Then the thought police will come and will control. So that is a deep control of the mind. That is what the power. That is how this power is divine. Power is what is to be worshipped. Power is something that should be replacing the very idea of the God, which is already situated there for centuries in the minds of the people. In chapter 4, after this torture on the machine, this quote comes there. He, that is Winston Smith, wrote first in large clumsy letters, freedom is slavery. Then almost without a pause, he wrote beneath it, 2 and 2 make 5. But then there came a sort of check. His mind, as though shying away from something, seemed unable to concentrate. He knew that he knew what came next, but for the moment he could not recall it. When he did recall it, it was only by consciously out, reasoning out what it must be. It did not come of its own accord. And then he wrote. So something from his subconscious mind, something comes out after this. Freedom is slavery. Then 2 and 2 makes 5. And then it comes is, he wrote, God is power. He accepted everything. The past was alterable. The past never had been so and so. And all these people whom he thought, these three characters, Jones, Aronson, and Rutherford. He has told that I have seen them. They were sitting in a pub near me, and they were real people. And the way it is told that they have committed a particular crime against the state, against the party, on that day they were out of country. That also he knew it very well. So whatever is told or confessed by this three character is a lie. It is not true confession of this three character also. But now he says, well, all those things I am erasing from my memory. The power is working. It is exactly like God, and the way people bow down to God or believe the truth of the God, the same way the truth of the party is to be believed in. All other things are to be erased or wiped off from the memory there. So this is how this sentence, this quote in this novel comes twice. God is power comes twice. God is referred 8 times, but this word, this quote is referred, and O'Brien explains in detail about the importance of power here. So we can say that when we justify or when we say what is the significance of this quote, the way it comes and the way it is used to empower or overpower, let us say, Winston Smith, not only in body but in mind also. Then, so the significance in this novel, the quote "God's power" is a phrase used by O'Brien, as we have seen also. There. The phrase is significant because it represents the core belief of the ruling party, the core belief that power is the ultimate source of all authority and control. So, without power, you can't have an authority and control. You have to control human beings and you have to exercise your power over that. The party seeks to maintain power and control over every aspects of citizens' lives, including their thoughts and beliefs, through strict surveillance, propaganda, and the use of force. So, surveillance is what is very importantly seen here. Surveillance, each and everything is checked. As an illustration, we come to know in the novel that for 7 years, Winston was under the check. Whatever he was doing, everything was checked for last 7 years. And Winston always thought that, well, I am escaping the surveillance of the party. They are not able to catch me, but he was already under the spying eyes of the party there. The propaganda, which also is equally significant part of controlling the people. So constantly some kind of an information is given to the people, and people keep on talking about that information. One of the best ideas which are used to have power over the people is to give them something that they can be happy about that. And what is more beautiful than just to tell that we are at war and we are winning the war? If you give these two beautiful chocolates to people, they will keep on like mumbling in the mouth that one after another. If a country is at war, you are ready to sacrifice everything. Even if you will not have a razor blade or if you will not have basic necessities that is required, then also you will say, well, for the sake of my country comes first, I will sacrifice everything. I am ready to give everything for the sake of my country because my country is at war. So all the citizens automatically will be ready to sacrifice their own possessions also, their own things also. They'll be ready to do a fast if they don't get a food also. And they will do the fast with the same fervority as they do fast in the name of religion. Because we know that some days are given that on this day, if you will fast, God will be happy. The religion tells this, and people keep on doing that without asking questions. Those things. The same fervority comes if a country is at war with another country. So you keep constantly the war going on. War is not supposed to end in a victory or a defeat. It is to be continuous. The secret of the war is it has to be continuously fought, and you have to give the news that we are winning through propaganda. Now, even if you are not winning, how will the people come to know what is happening on the frontiers? They will come to know only through the media, only through the telescreens or the radio, but that is controlled by the power. So people will never get what is the truth of those things. By equating God with power, O'Brien is essentially saying that the party is the ultimate authority with the power to control people's lives and shape their reality. In this way, the party seeks to replace traditional religious and moral beliefs with its own ideology, which is centered around the worship of the party and its leader, Big Brother. So even the word this worship becomes significant. The worshipping of the party. Okay. So this now worshipping is again the semantic field of religion. But you don't believe in religion, but you are just changing that. Now your religion is party, and the big brother is the leader who is replaced by God. So all your tendency to worship gods and goddesses should flow towards big brother. Your devotion, not only that obedience and love, but even your devotion should be directed towards a big brother. The phrase God is power also reflects the novel's larger themes of the dangers of totalitarianism and the corrupting influence of power. By emphasizing the party's belief in power and the ultimate authority, Orwell underscores the idea that the pursuit of power can lead to the oppression and exploitation of individuals and the destruction of society also. So maybe through this idea, George Orwell reminds us that if you will give absolute power to somebody or some party, it is bound to take towards some kind of an oppression of the people, exploitation of individuals, and destruction of society. So, time and again, it becomes a very interesting text when any political leader becomes very popular among the masses, as if he is replacing the devotion of the god, or like he is taking a place of Avatari Purush in one or the another way, or becoming a kind of a Shakti, Devi or Shakti, kind of a thing also, as people used to very popularly say that Indira Gandhi is Durga Ma. And kind of, so those things are very dangerous, which George Orwell reminds us that this way, this devotion towards a political party or a leader may lead to oppression and exploitation of individuals, and it also ultimately leads to the destruction of society. Even though we are told that the society is shining, we are growing, the development is happening, another thing, but somewhere very deeply, some sorts of destructions are happening invisibly that keeps on happening also. So that is the meaning of this phrase, God is power. How George Orwell says, and he shows the dangers of power through this particular quote here, that how power becomes quite dangerous when it is given to an individual or to a party which can control not only the body of the people but also the mind of the people, the memory of the people also, and that way they want to control the past of the people so that they can easily control the present, and they can keep on controlling the futures of the societies and individuals also. So that is this quote. What is God is power. But at the same time, this leads to the another argument about is it only the critic of power only, or it also becomes a critic of God also. So the another point that we will discuss is how this novel is something about a critic of religion also, how it tend to become. So double speak, or we can say double think, that works everywhere. You can't only criticize power, but it also criticizes the God idea also significantly. So in the next part, we will see the another part, how it is a critic of the religion also.